Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Albion Obsessed podcast. Don't be alarmed. Tom's fine. He just didn't watch the game. So it's me hosting today, guys. Let's see who we've got on the podcast. I'll try and do as good a job as Tom does hosting. Kurtis, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, but you're not Tom. Who are you,
I know.
stranger?
I'm an
No,
imposter.
but I'm glad to see you and young Daniel below here. But I'm glad to be here on the heels of another fantastic win.
Exactly that. And lots of goals. Kurtis has already said who else is on the podcast. Daniel, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, lads. I'm very excited to talk about this game.
Yeah, definitely. And as I say, lots and lots of goals to talk about. We will start off with the starting 11, though. Big news, obviously, Leandro Trossard not in the starting 11, raised a few question marks, Kurtis. Recently in The Athletic, there was an article about Roberto De Zerbi saying, look, if you're not at 100%, you're not going to be in my squad. What did you make of Roberto De Zerbi's selection today and leaving Trossard at home?
Kind of a brave squad. I mean, I wasn't expecting to see I wasn't expecting to see like Van Heck start and people like that. But it's good. I'm quite glad that he feels comfortable enough with all of his players that you can put out a squad like that. So that's really good. And yeah, especially this Trossard situation. I'm not concerned by it or anything. The guy, I feel like what De Zerbi has said is a good thing for him and for the rest of the team. I think because they've got to know that you can't go out there and put 50% out there. You have to give it everything. You have to give your all. Otherwise, what's the point in you being in the starting 11? So hopefully, Trossard will hear these comments and he'll back his ideas up a little bit, And I'm not going to hear the excuse that he's been to the World Cup, because we've just seen Mac Allister today and he scored 2. So you know what I mean? It's ridiculous, and Trossard's been back sooner than Mac Allister was, so we can't blame that. I'm sorry.
No.
And yeah, I don't know what's going on in Trossard's personal life and stuff like that. So I'm not going to comment on any of that. But I hope that what Roberto has said helps Trossard kick on.
Yeah, exactly that. I think you're spot on, Kurtis. There's been a lot of transfer rumours surrounding Leandro Trossard, Dan, and Aaron in the last podcast said he's not going to get his big top 6 move with the performances he has been putting in. Has Leandro Trossard got to be careful with his attitude? If it is an attitude problem, again, we're speculating. We don't know. If Roberto De Zerbi is saying he's not given 100%, is a top 6 club going to look at him and say, yeah, that we want him?
I wouldn't say he's been that consistent for us as I think we've alluded to loads of different times. He does turn up for some games and then he just disappear and just be non-existent. I don't think he will make it a top 6 club personally. I think on his day he could, but if he wants to play the way he wants to play, obviously firing all cylinders, then he can get the move. But if it is an attitude problem or something personally happening, obviously, I think it's good that De Zerbi has sorted it out to hopefully today, and obviously maybe that's given him the kick up the arse to say, look, if you're not going to play to my standard, then you're not going to get picked at all, which I think is a great mindset to have, because I don't think Potter really saw that in him. So I think that he was sort of like, I had to sort of play him because if we haven't got anyone else I can trust better, even if performances weren't good. But I hope for his sake, it's just something that he could just be like, oh, okay, I'll play better. Not so really personally, that's obviously affecting him mentally.
Yeah, exactly. And the real dilemma, Kurtis, is that we've got obviously Liverpool coming up. Leandro Trossard scored a hat-trick at Anfield last time out, which was a fantastic result, fantastic performance from him. Have we got that dilemma now of, okay, do we play Trossard against Liverpool because he plays so well against them, or is that completely out of the window and you have to go off of the form of Evan Ferguson?
Tricky, isn't it? That's really, really hard because, you've got Trossard who's got the experience there, especially against teams like Liverpool and things like that. And as you say, he scored a hat-trick against Liverpool, but Ferguson's in such good form. I feel like we need to reward that form. It's difficult though. I don't really know how to answer it. I mean, I would want to give it to Ferguson just because, as I say, he's been playing so well. But I don't know. I feel like it might be a safer bet to maybe put Trossard in. I don't know though.
Yeah, no, fair enough. It is a difficult question because, as you say, Trossard has got the experience, and we have seen what he can do against the top teams. But on recent performances, I personally don't feel like you can put Leandro Trossard in the starting 11. Definitely off the bench. But yeah, I think De Zerbi is a guy that's going to go off of recent performances. So I think we will see Evan Ferguson. Not to prolong the point anymore, really, because we've got a lot of positives to talk about from the game. And obviously the starting 11. Van Heck, I thought, was excellent. Dan, what did you make of the young centre-half's performance?
Yeah, they're quite solid. I was a bit worried, obviously, with no Dunk because obviously every time we've seen they have no Dunk in the squads, the sort of defence sort of goes off a little bit, and obviously we did sort of see that with Colwell sort of not really obviously making a few mistakes and this that and the other, and obviously when I saw when we conceded, I was sort of like, is this going to happen again? Whereas Dunk is really that mainstay in the defence, but I think he came in and basically did the job he needed to do. Looking good, looking sharp. And obviously, as at least we kept it down to one goal, and which obviously shows that they were defensively strong today.
Yeah, exactly. We did get off to the perfect start though. Yeah, brilliant from Solly March to wriggle away from his defender. Should do better, maybe. People obviously meme Solly March for not scoring, not putting away his chances. But the ever-present Pascal Gross is there, Kurtis, to finish off our first move. And what did you make of Pascal's goal contribution today?
My brother said to me when I showed him the video, he went, he said, Solly doesn't score a goal unless it's from 35 yards. So I'm starting to believe that that's probably what it's going to be, and I'm fine with it. But yeah, to get onto that ball after the deflection of the keeper and all that, fantastic. He's such an intelligent player, and he's just everywhere he needs to be. He's just the consummate professional, really, really fantastic. And it's so good to see how well him and so many other sort of players that seemed like they may not have fit the Potter style have done under De Zerbi. Like, there was a lot of talks of people like Gross and Solly March who were too slow or, not Premier League quality and all this other stuff. And just look how well they're doing. So,
exactly. Dan, do you put that down to De Zerbi's coaching, getting the best out of these players? We spoke about it on the last podcast, but interested to get your view on that.
It's definitely improvements in how everyone is playing. You can definitely see it. Obviously, you can sort of look at where the old manager's now at, and obviously where they're struggling, whereas now we're not. It's obviously that it's a new style, obviously with the wingers and that, which we weren't using for the last 2-3 years. It sort of shows that we're more threatening and we're more of a goal threat now, whereas obviously where he's at now is obviously not happening for him. But yeah, as you say, like the players, obviously that's the one good thing that he did before he went was make sure that Gross was here for another 2 years, which we always are going, oh, maybe he'd be good off the bench or whatever. But since he's been playing, every time he gets on that pitch, he gives a 100% performance and he's scoring goals, and that's all we can ask of him.
Yeah, exactly that. And I feel like now's quite a good time to talk about the talking point that Tom wanted us to cover in the group chat. Our goal output has just been absolutely phenomenal, Kurtis. We put out a tweet yesterday. Some people have said that this is a stupid stat, but I don't think so. Under Graham Potter last season, it took us 18 Premier League games to score 17 goals. In Brighton & Hove Albion's last 6 Premier League games, we have scored 17 goals. Another 5 today, Kurtis. Just how impressed have you been from the change in mentality going forward? It's just something we just weren't used to under Graham Potter. We went probably, I think, 6 games without scoring a goal, or 3 months without scoring a goal, something ridiculous like that. So yeah, how refreshing is that?
Well, I mean, I don't know why it's a stupid stat, because it's something that should be celebrated. Because I remember last season we were crying out for goals. You know, we were like, I don't know where they're coming from, or like when we did score, we were like, oh look, we did a goal. You know, as a joke. Come on, like let's celebrate the fact that we're doing incredibly well with this at the moment, and it's so refreshing to see. And yeah, it'd be nice to come from a sort of like out and outright striker, but it's also good to see a whole team that's willing to commit to the scoring effort. So I'm just really happy that there seems to be a really good cohesion between every player out there, and they all want to play for each other, and they all want to play for the badge. So.
Yeah, exactly that. Dan, where do you stand now? I mean, like the goals have been flying in left, right, centre. Last 2 games, we've scored 9 goals. Granted, we just played a championship opposition and scored 5 goals, but they're doing well. They're on a promotion push or a playoffs push, so they're no slouches. Where do you stand now on the extra striker comments? Do you think we still need that extra guy up front, or would you be happy if we ended January without an extra attacking option?
I think if they can still count as Trossard as a centre forward, then we need another one, because there's no way that guy can play centre forward. He can do it sometimes. It's worked. It has worked. I'm not saying it hasn't worked at all, but depend on him if anything happens to Ferguson, or obviously Welbeck is obviously it's sort of inevitable. Something's going to happen to him. I think maybe that extra one striker, maybe that can come off the bench for Ferguson, or top and change for Ferguson, or something like that, or when Welbeck's fit, obviously, and Ferguson be on the bench with him, or just something different as well, something that we haven't got. I know Welbeck's got experience, hasn't got quite the legs, and obviously Ferguson's young, he's quite hungry. Someone in the middle, someone who could just come in and do a job. I know Undav obviously looks like he could be going, but obviously after today he might not be. After maybe having that one goal he scored today. You know, obviously, if not, maybe this goes right. I'm going to play Undav more, and obviously then that's good for him, and obviously good for us. Obviously, have to go out and spend any more money. But it's one of those things. It's sort of like it depends who the option is, and obviously, which would be the main obviously question I'd bring forward to the club.
Yeah, exactly that.
The hot take I have, it's not really a hot take, but I've seen some people saying that Undav's lazy and stuff like that, and he's slow and everything else. And in my opinion, he hasn't had enough time to really show his skill set. You know, he's played. God, I probably count on one hand the amount of games he's played. You know, I feel like he needs some time. I feel like he needs a chance to play. And I feel like we should give it to him, but that's just my opinion. But I also wouldn't mind us definitely spending some money on a striker. I know we were looking at people like Ricardo Pepi and people like that, who was supposed to be a fairly good striker. Signed him on Pez, he was pretty good. But he's doing well at the club he's at. But yeah, but I know we're not looking to get him. Well, he won't be available until the summer, so I don't know what they're aiming to do. But if they bring someone in, it'll be good. But I don't think we have too much to worry about if we're continually scoring goals from everywhere.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think the issue with Undav, Kurtis, is you say give him a chance. He deserves the chance. In a game like today, he's come on, he's scored a goal, and he's taken that chance, which is really good to see. We've now seen, again, it's against a championship opposition, but we've seen that he can come in and he can get a goal. Granted, we were 4-1 up at the time, but he knows where the net is. And for me, obviously, say give him more time, give him more chances. I think it coincides with how well we're doing and how many goals we're actually scoring, because I think if we're losing 1-0, let's say, we're not going to bring Dennis Undav on. I don't think we're going to stick with our ever presence and experienced players to get us out of that trouble. So I think it's a really difficult situation for Undav, to be honest, because I don't know where that chance comes unless it's in a cup game. which is great that we're going through to the next round. And dependent on what opponent we get, maybe we see him start. I don't know. But in the Premier League, it's a really difficult thing for him. And I do think a loan would do him the world of good. And just see where we go from there. But obviously, we're talking about different options. He is a different option. And I just don't think he's the option we need. I think we need somebody else. And he goes and gets a chance to be the ever-present striker for somebody else. Because I don't think that the cup chances give him enough time. But yeah, I don't know what your opinion is on that.
That's fair. That's probably fair. I think he's probably going to want to start playing first team football more so, moving forward. And I think you're right. I'm not sure if he'll get those chances over. I mean, even like over Evan Ferguson or Danny Welbeck now, who's been injured for the longest time. So yeah, I think you're probably right. I think a loan would probably serve him quite well. Probably maybe in the Championship, I think he'd do quite well. We'll just have to see what the club have planned for him ultimately.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's any doubt in that he's a good player. I mean, he was doing bits in Belgium. Again, I know it's the Belgian league, but even Matoma was doing well in the Belgian league, and look at what he's come and done in the Premier League. So you can't take away from these players how good they actually are and the potential that they do have. And so I think Brighton fans maybe need to give him a little bit more breathing space in terms of how long it takes us to see what he can do, and just hope that it comes to fruition. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and it's something we've tried, and it's something that he's had the opportunity to do. But other than that, I'm not sure where else his chances lie. Let's talk about probably the only negative of the game, I would say. Obviously, the goal. I think it's actually gone down as a Jason Steele own goal now. So Chuba Akpom didn't score against us. Please fact check that, one of you. I'm not sure if that is true. But Middlesbrough break quite quickly, Dan. We're left a little bit exposed in defence. Can't quite clear our lines, and the ball comes out to the left wing.
They gave it to Akpom.
They've given it to Akpom. Okay, fair enough. I retract my comments. And the ball gets played into the box, Dan. Akpom is there and rises really well above Colwill, to be fair to him, and gets the head away. Jason still can't quite keep the ball out of the net. What did you make of Middlesbrough's quick response, and was you a bit worried that the game was going to suddenly flip on us?
Well, as we say with Chuba Akpom, he's obviously a different player than what we had because he's the top scorer from Middlesbrough. I think as well, as I heard someone say the league as well. I'm not sure. Not 100% sure on that, but someone will fact check that somewhere. But yeah, as I say, it was 1-1. I thought, Middlesbrough gonna get momentum now. So thinking, no, we can win this game now, and take a bit longer. And obviously, I thought this is going to start becoming one of those games where we can slip up. And obviously, De Zerbi has said in his press conference that the Charlton game sort of annoys him. I think I saw that he said, which obviously meant that mentality is quite decent as well. Because obviously, he wants to run and look at these cup competitions and do well, which is great to see. Obviously, then to then slip up against Middlesbrough again into a team where really I'm not trying to say we should be, but obviously we should be winning against. It's hard. Obviously then we put the game to bed, which is great.
Yeah, exactly that, and I think Reggie agrees with you, Dan. To be honest, so yeah, good appearance from Reg. So yeah, I think Brighton fans maybe have to cut Akpom a little bit of slack. I know he was a little bit memed when he was with us and didn't do as well as he could have done. And I know that somebody commented on our Chuba Akpom comments in the last podcast and pointed out that he's changed himself as a player. He's got 13 goals in the Championship. He is the top scorer, Dan. I did fact check whilst you were speaking there. So yeah, no, fair play to him for reinventing himself and being a focal point in a team that are striving for promotion. And good luck to Middlesbrough, to be honest with you. It was good though, Kurtis, for us to get a response in the first half. Matoma finds the ball from across. escapes me from who the cross was from, Solly March, I think, and drills the ball into the ground, and it bounces up, loops up, and who else but Adam Lallana there to chest it in the goal. Really good to go into half time 2-1 up, Kurtis.
Yeah, fantastic, because they were still quite, they were pushing still at that point, and we had made a few like defensive mistakes and stuff before that point, so I didn't expect that to come at all, and I was watching it on a bit of a delay, so the group chat I just saw Lallana, It's all right, Joe. Don't worry about it. But I'm really happy for Lallana. Fantastic individual. I was saying that he's gonna make such a great coach when he eventually retires. Hopefully he can stay with us. That'd be really, really cool. But yeah, really happy to go into that second half with that confidence. So
yeah, exactly that. And Lallana is actually increasing his goal output, which is really good to see. As I think it was you, Dan, that said goals are coming from different places all over the pitch, which is great, and something that we maybe didn't overly see with Graham Potter. It was always certain individuals that would get us out of bad performances or get the goal that would win us the game. So yeah, really good to see Lallana on the score sheet, Dan. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, he's very good. Still life in the old dog yet, as they say. Yeah, he's becoming one of those players where sort of vital for the system, because I think De Zerbi does really trust Lallana in his role, and I sort of think he sort of has him there to sort of with the coaching stuff, and obviously he sort of obviously gives him instructions, and obviously then he gives it out to the other players, which is great to see. Because obviously, I think we've always keep alluding it to, obviously where he's basically the loudest voice on the pitch that you can probably hear if you're at the games, which is good because Dunn can't do everything where he is because he can't see where everything's going. Obviously, say with Lallana, I really do hope he becomes a coach, because every time he speaks, you sort of sit there and listen. You go, wow, this guy knows his stuff. I hope it's with us as well as maybe even to be sort of maybe De Zerbi's assistant, or maybe the next one after if De Zerbi decides to move away, which I hope he doesn't anytime soon. But yeah, I'm glad that he's now pushing on and showing his stuff and doing well for us.
Yeah, exactly that. Kurtis, so half-time comes, we're 2-1 up. We start the second half. If you're a Middlesbrough fan and you see a World Cup winner, Alexis Mac Allister, coming on for the second half, what is going through your mind?
Oh, bugger. There he is, the beautiful man himself. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I reckon they probably would have gone into that half still with a fair amount of confidence. They weren't out of it at all. I was just reading some of the comments there on their half-time post. They were saying they were the better team at certain parts of that first half. So yeah, to see us bring some of our big guns on, I'm sure they still felt like they could have maybe got something, but it's Mac Allister, man. Mac Allister. What can I say? He's just too good. He's too good.
Yeah, he just oozes class, and when I watch him, obviously he's only been back for the last 2 games. But when I watch him now, there's a certain aura about him. That the players are just maybe giving him a little bit more respect than they were, and giving him space. And how is it for you, Dan, watching a World Cup winner in a Brighton and Albion shirt and putting in 100% performances, and coming out and saying what he said in the press of he's in no rush to leave? How excited does that make you?
Very, very excited. When he won the World Cup, I started thinking, wow, that's incredible. I think people who obviously supported longer than I have or we have, when we were at the Goldstone without a ground, and obviously losing the Goldstone, and people were sitting there going, if they said to them, oh, in about 20, 25 years, you're going to have a World Cup win in your squad, they would have laughed in your face. Literally, and even just for me, just like he supported them since when they've had the Amex, and it's incredible for me. This just a guy who's was on the world stage, won the biggest prize in the whole of football, come onto and be able to come onto the pitch and basically put in performance like he did, and still want to play for us as well. Because if it would been probably anybody else, they'd been like, why am I here? What do I want to be here for? Because I've, as everyone keeps saying, he's now going back. He's playing with Lionel Messi and whoever, and now he's come back to play with Solly March. It was like, that's disrespectful. Solly is a good player. I know it's not the level of Lionel Messi, but he's still a good player. But yeah, excuse me. It's if I was sitting there as a Borough fan and literally going, they just brought on their World Cup winner, I'd literally gone, no, please no.
Yeah, show us mercy, please, Brighton. It didn't take Mac Allister long to get instant impact on the game, Curtis. Let's talk about. So obviously we've spoken about him winning the World Cup, being world class, playing with Lionel Messi, playing with other world class players as well, and he shows exactly what world class is with that finish. Just talk us through it, Curtis, because it was delightful. A Stupinian with a great ball in. Mac Allister does the rest.
Filthy. I needed to sit down on a cigarette after I saw that. That was absolutely beautiful. A really, really nice goal. Just so beautiful. I can't really describe it any way than that. It's proper poo house activity, as you might call it. Really, really, really good. I wasn't expecting him to make such an impact so quick either, but it really did change how we played as soon as he came on. So yeah, I was so happy to see such a wonderful goal, but just to see him just continue his form. So I'm really happy for him and happy for us, obviously, because we have, I don't know if we've mentioned it, a World Cup winner, guys. Have we mentioned it before? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly that. And he's playing with Solly March, who arguably is better than Lionel Messi. I'm joking. Don't at me.
We're talking about the guy who's clearly a Brighton fan because he commented on that post the other day.
Yeah, that's the one. That is the one. Now, an Argentinian account, when Mac Allister scored that goal, tweeted something in their language, and it was 2 words. And the second word was Mac Allister's name. The first word was sexo. I don't know what that means, but we're going to use it. Mac Allister is sexo. So there you go. Use that
Hopefully,
in the comments.
Hopefully it's not anything that'll get us cancelled. So
hopefully not.
I don't think it is. It's not.
Blame the Argentinians. It's not our fault. But yeah, Mac Allister, when he came on, as you say, Curtis, changed the game. And he gets the 4th goal as well, Dan. 2 goals on, I wouldn't say his return, because obviously he played in the last game, but his second return, let's call it, gets 2 goals. So it's clear to see the work rate is still there for him, as you said earlier, which is amazing to see. And then obviously we've spoken about Undav coming on and getting his chance and putting the ball into the net. So happy days. 5 goals, 4 goals in the last game, 9 goals in the last 2 games. Dan, how positive are you that this can continue?
I think it's fairly decent of us now to go on this run. Whereas, especially with that little break, obviously I don't think people were thinking that this after Charlton, after having that bad game against Charlton. Obviously, first game jitters. Obviously we're having a lot of people out as well. I think it was, remember rightly. I bet if he said to them at this point, "Oh yeah, we're going to go on a fantastic run after this of scoring goals," and they'd be like, "Yeah, whatever." Nah, surely not. But yeah, I'm looking at this and then going, like we spoke about it last night on the group chat was how many goals did it take Potter to get the same amount? And it was like halfway through a season or something, wasn't it? We said it was like incredible, and it's funny how I think Aaron might allude this to the last episode as well. That how incredible is it now that it looks like our goal scoring stuff is finished. We had times where he couldn't score a goal. We couldn't look like we're scoring a goal. Sometimes not even having a shot on target. And now he's gone now, got a new manager in. De Zerbi comes in, plays relatively the same way, different formation, but we're now scoring goals. Whereas obviously now he's now gone to a bigger club and now doing exactly the same thing with them. And obviously by looks of it, at the end, maybe after this weekend, to not even be there anyway. So it's incredibly positive to think about that. Hopefully we can keep this going. I know we've got Liverpool next, but Thing is, though, we're scoring goals. We can score against anybody. We're scoring against Arsenal, who are very good on that day. We obviously, De Zerbi's first game was against Liverpool, scored 3 goals. Obviously, I know it was Trossard's hat-trick, but still scored some goals. Gave them a right good game. I think literally at this point we could give anybody a good game and could win any game we wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. Dan, you mentioned Charlton and the poor performance there and people panicking that we were going to go on some really poor run of form. Kurtis, isn't it funny how emotions change in football so very quickly? So we're losing to Charlton on a penalty shootout. We had a really good game. We played well. We didn't finish our chances, but we dominated the game. It was just one of those nights. But after that, on social media, everywhere it was, oh, we're rubbish. What's happened to us? Blah, blah, blah. What had happened to us is we were playing against a team that had been playing competitively, and we hadn't played competitively in 7 weeks. So yeah, what do you make of the whole how emotions change in football so very quickly?
See, I love football, and for the most part, I love the fans. But sometimes they can be incredibly fickle and short-sighted. Listen, I would like to have progressed in the Carabao Cup, of course, right? But we didn't, and we had to move on from that. I mean, it's not going to help anyone, those sorts of comments and those sorts of things, singling out individual players. Where as a team we didn't play well enough. It's not any one person's fault. It's the team, right? But I think they took that to heart. You've got to imagine that the team weren't happy about it, and they've come out and they've kicked on and they've done so incredibly well. I mean, like you've said, they've scored a hat full of goals, and we've just progressed in the FA Cup. I'm so incredibly proud of the team and what they've done, especially through quite a few tumultuous changes, and so to just get through that and take on board what Roberto is having to say and really cement it. And we got a cat, by the way. Really cement it. It's been fantastic, and I can't wait to see what's next for us.
Yeah, I don't think our players get nearly enough credit for reacting the way they did when Graham Potter left, and how quickly they adapted to. That is really off-putting, that cat. That is so funny. But no, how quickly they reacted to Roberto De Zerbi's ideas, his plans. I know people say, "Oh, yeah, but we've slipped down the league since." It would have happened under Graham Potter. Who knows what could have happened under Graham Potter? We might have fell off a cliff. You can't say.
I'm sorry, it's stupid to think we would have stayed in 4th. It's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I would love for that to be in the thing, but it just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I think we would have been there or thereabouts where we are now. I can't lie. Graham Potter had us playing some wonderful football. I think that the time has passed. We can say that. We weren't relegation fodder when he left us, and the disrespect that he gets is because of how he left us, not because of what he done for us. So I think in time we will look back and say, yeah, we were still going in the right direction. But it's so much credit goes to Roberto De Zerbi and our players for just carrying that on. We said when De Zerbi got appointed, it was going to be such a weird thing to take over a club that was sat 4th in the Premier League. That never happens in football. Surely never happens in football. So yeah, full credit to our players, full credit to De Zerbi. Our mentality at the moment is made of steel. Reference to Jason Steele, which is amazing. Let's look ahead, guys. Actually, no, before we do that, I'm going to ask for your man of the match today. Kurtis, who are we going for?
It's either Gross or Mac Allister for me, but I'm probably going to have to give it to Gross. I think he... or do I? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do, because it would be very easy for me to give it to Mac Allister due to scoring 2 goals. But I think just Gross showed a proper professional, hard-working display out there. He's a real workhorse, isn't he, So I'm really, I'll happily give it to Pascal Gross.
And young Daniel, who is your man of the match for today?
I'm going to go with a bit more out of left field. I'll now say March, because every single time that anything that was happening, it was either assisting it or assisting the assist. He was basically somewhere leading that attack into the right place. And there's that one point had that scuffed shot where should have scored from it. Obviously, Gross got it in anyway. Then yes, as I say, I think he did fairly well. Yeah, Gross, yeah, definitely. Obviously, Mac Allister came on, obviously changed the game completely and made it outside. But I think March just purely because he was trying to make most of the goals that are happening.
Yeah, definitely. Dan, I think you're overtaking me as the Solly March lover on this podcast, because in the last podcast you were on, you dubbed Solly March as one of the greatest Brighton and Hove Albion have ever had in our squad. There's no taking away from what Solly March does. But yeah, that was a very bold shout. So I respect you for that massively. And to give Solly the man of the match today, I think is a really good shout. Mine, Kurtis, does go to Alexis Mac Allister. Maybe fans will say, oh, he didn't have enough time to warrant getting man of the match. But for me, he came on at halftime. He changed the game completely. He made us unbelievably dominant. He got 2 goals. And for me, yeah, 100% man of the match performance from Alexis Mac Allister.
Isn't that nice though that we're all saying different individuals? You know, that it's nice that, you know, there was even Purvis, I thought, had a really bloody good game today as well. I mean, there was a few really good players who made a really good impact on the game that you could have chose today, which is really, really good. I'm happy that that everyone's playing so well.
Yeah, I think as well for Purvis, after how naive he has been defensively in the last couple of games against Arsenal and making that mistake against Everton, I think it was really good for him to have a solid game today. And I actually think defensively, not to bring our performance down or anything, but just to pinpoint, I thought Lamptey left us exposed a few times. So that was a little bit disappointing, but you can't take away from what Lamptey gives us going forwards at all.
No, I think it's good to talk about the negatives though as well, because, you know, with the positives you have that, and I definitely do agree that maybe defensively at times we weren't as strong as we could have been, but otherwise we were really, really good. So
yeah, exactly. I think we're starting to sound like Roberto De Zerbi. Score 5 goals and we're still unhappy about something. It's infectious. What can I say? The Italian mentality is infectious. Guys, let's look ahead then to Liverpool. We are hopefully doing a live stream midweek. So keep an eye out for that one, guys. And we're going to speak to a Liverpool fan who Kurtis knows, which will be really cool. But we're going to have a little chat about Liverpool now. Big game. Liverpool not performing how they would want to at all at the moment, I would say. A little bit shaky defensively. They haven't got Virgil van Dijk. Kurtis, how are you seeing this game going? Are you hopeful we can get a home win?
I'm not worried, to be brutally honest with you. I'm really not. But this is you watch back at on this in a week's time, they put 6 past us or something. But I'm really not that worried, to be honest. They've just been so off the boil this season. I don't know. I feel like we could do a job considering how we're playing at the moment. With that intensity and that mindset that we have, absolutely we could beat them. Not worried.
Awesome. I'll push you for a score prediction, Kurtis. What are we thinking?
3-2, Brighton.
That would be an Amex Classic game. That sounds like a right good old fist fight amongst the top. Are we still?
Oh, we are. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe? So top 7 teams. Amazing.
Yeah. I'd love a clean sheet, but with this new style of play, it sort of leaves us a bit more open at the back, and I think that we've been struggling with that recently. But I think it will be tough, of course, because it's Liverpool. But I think either 3-1 to us or 3-2 to us. So
happy days. Dan, are you as positive as Kurtis?
I think, as I said earlier, I think we can give anybody a game. We're doing so well. I think the positivity is running through. You can see with the Mac Allister homecoming as well when he came home. Obviously, you can see that literally everybody's together and everything they want to do. Obviously, as he's now coming back into the team, I'd imagine he'll start against Liverpool. Obviously, I don't know. Obviously, the only person who knows is De Zerbi. But I'd imagine he probably will start that game. We'll probably look at like a team where we were before the World Cup now. Maybe bit differences, maybe like Ferguson being in. I definitely think that we can definitely live in game. I would say no Van Dijk, which their only options now is basically rubbish. Yeah, I can see us probably maybe doing a job. Yeah, I think and as well score prediction. I'll probably say the same as Kaz, 3-2.
Wow, we are predicting another goal fest here on Albion Obsessed. Guys, I have to say I'm not as confident as you guys, but I'm still a little bit
Joe,
confident.
come on.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Someone's got to be negative here. Not negative,
that
but
has to be the host, doesn't it?
slightly less positive. I think it'll be a thrilling draw. I think it'll be 3-3. There's no doubt we're scoring goals. I still think we score goals against that Liverpool team. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be pinned back by Matoma. He's going to have defensive duties that we have seen that Trent doesn't like to do his defensive duties. So yeah, if you look at Trossard at Anfield against Trent Alexander-Arnold, it's clear to see. But I do think Liverpool are a really scary team going forward still. So I do think they'll score a few goals as well. I could see it being your guys' prediction, but I'm going to be the pessimistic one and say 3-3. And it would be nice to see Alexis Mac Allister starting again. And as well, just before we come to you, Kurtis, again, Alexis Mac Allister, this will be his homecoming in front of the fans. So hopefully we get to see something really special and he can present us his World Cup winning medal. I know Alvarez done that at Man City recently. So hopefully we get very much the same and we can show our appreciation. Sorry, Kurtis, what was you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I'd take a draw as well against one of the big teams like Liverpool. So either of those, I'll be fine with.
Yeah, exactly. Dan, are you going to the game?
I am. Yeah, very much looking forward to it. Just as we've been saying, it should be a very, very good game.
Yeah, exactly that. And Alexis Mac Allister homecoming, as I say, I'm really excited to see him on the side of the pitch with the medal round his neck. I think Brighton fans have been waiting for that for ages. And the two games that he has played have been away from home. Those away fans are so lucky that they've got to show their appreciation to him, and props to them because they've been making some unbelievable journeys over the last week. Everton away and then Middlesbrough away. So fair play to you guys that go week in, week out away from home. It's I'm sure it doesn't go unnoticed by the team, and it's so impressive to see how many people do make that journey. So yeah, really, really good stuff. I think we'll leave it there then, guys, for this installment of the Albion Obsessed podcast. Make sure you drop a comment below to tell us your man of the match and your score predictions for next week. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok because we're putting a lot of content on there. As well as Twitter. We're always on Twitter, so at us there. Also, we've just got a new group chat service for our loyal fans or loyal listeners, I'll call you. So if you drop down into the description there, you'll get a link to our Discord, and then you can chat away to us, give us podcast ideas, and we'll shout you out on the podcast as well. Just a nice way to get interaction between us and you guys. Yeah, I'll leave off with Tom saying, wherever you may be, whenever you may be, have a wonderful day, evening, or night. See you soon, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.